Hi everybody and welcome back to the FPL Family YouTube channel. I'm Sam and I'm back with another Jammy Pick video ahead of Game Week 2. Now I was going to have Bruyne on here because I thought he was absolutely fantastic for Brentford against Arsenal in Game Week 1. However, can't really pick the same player in a Jammy Pick video 2 game weeks on the trot. So Mbeumo probably deserves to be here, to be honest, as a Jammy Pick for Game Week 2. But given I had him in here for Game Week 1, he has taken a seat on the bench, if you like. And these are the 3 players that I have picked as my Jammy Picks ahead of Game Week 2. Now, starting with the top player there, Leon Bailey from Aston Villa. Obviously a new signing for them this summer. Came in during Game Week 1 and played 30 minutes. So not a start yet, but did impress in the 30 minutes that he had. 2 penalty area touches and 2 attempts on goal, which actually, when you look at it across the Aston Villa team, was the second most attempts any player made, only behind John McGinn, who had 3. So Aston Villa weren't that great going forward. They did look a little bit off colour. They weren't quite the Aston Villa that we knew and loved in the season that we've just had. But this week, Aston Villa are at home. A nice fixture at home versus Newcastle. Newcastle will attack, as we saw in Game Week 1. They were very good going forward. But that will leave space and opportunities for the Aston Villa forwards to get in there and get some goals themselves. Now, of course, Danny Ings got off to a scoring run with the penalty in the 96th minute of Game Week 1. But the rest of the side taking a little bit longer to get in. Now, hopefully Watkins will be back for Game Week 2. That will strengthen the attack furthermore. And I'm hoping that Leon Bailey will get a start for Aston Villa this weekend. So for me, he is one that I think could be a really good option going into this week as a Jammy Pick who actually could get you through Game Week 3 also, as the Aston Villa fixture is really nice in 3 as well as in Game Week 2. Now, I forgot to look up exactly how heavily owned he is right now. Bailey owned currently by 2.7% of the game. Moving on to another player then in the Jammy Pick possibilities for this week. Not very often that I get to pick Kevin De Bruyne as a differential Jammy Pick for the week. However, KDB currently owned by 2.5% of the game, so less than Bailey, came back much earlier than we as FPL managers were expecting. I think much earlier than Manchester City fans were expecting when he made his appearance against Spurs in Game Week 1. Now, only came on for 11 minutes, but in those 11 minutes, my goodness, did he make trouble. And was it not for an absolutely fantastic challenge by Davinson Sanchez, Kevin De Bruyne could definitely have had some attacking returns in Game Week 1. I thought that he really strengthened that Manchester City side, which is no surprise, is it? He was one of the players that was the most impressive, even though he only played for 11 minutes. And we have seen in the past that Pep has used Kevin in a false 9. Now, one of the things that Manchester City were really lacking in Game Week 1 was a forward player, a striker. You can understand why they are so desperate to buy Harry Kane. But could we see Kevin De Bruyne play in that role? With Gundogan looking like he's going to be out for a few weeks, if not months. I think I heard 2 months for Gundogan with his injured shoulder from Game Week 1. We could see big hauls for De Bruyne. And if he can get his relationship going with Grealish and with Torres, who, by the way, I also thought looked really good in Game Week 1 of that Manchester City side. He was the next in the list of people that impressed me. Kevin De Bruyne, not normally a differential, will not be highly owned going into Game Week 2 because the majority of managers are trying to work out how to have Bruno and Salah in their team, let alone budgeting for another £12 million player. Very, very difficult to own all 3 of those guys. So he will be Jammy Pick this week. And if you can find a way to budget him for this game against Norwich at home, the perfect fixture for Manchester City to get off, to get the season up and running after the defeat against Spurs in Game Week 1. I think Kevin De Bruyne will have an important and a big game to play. I think he scored twice the last time that Manchester City played Norwich. And the final player on here then is Lucas Moura. Now, Lucas Moura obviously is a little bit of a risk moving forward, because when Harry Kane comes back into the Spurs starting 11, if Harry Kane comes back into the Spurs starting 11, there will be a shift in the way that Spurs are playing. We will have to see one of those front four in Son, Lucas Moura, Bruyne and Dele losing their spot to enable Kane to come back. But I don't see that being Lucas Moura. What it could do is mean that Lucas doesn't play in quite as the attacking manner that we saw against Manchester City in game week 1. I was really impressed with Lucas Moura in this opening fixture, and he is currently owned by just 1.1% of the game. At 6.5 million FPL pounds, he is a cheap way into the Spurs attacking unit, if you like. He is going to get plenty of time on the ball, and when we have a little look at his returns from game week 1, he had 66 touches, 3 shots and 3 key passes. He was one of the better Spurs players in that game. Really tricky, really difficult to play against. And Spurs have some nice fixtures coming up, of course. This time in game week 2, they're travelling to Wolves, who, whilst they were more secure defensively than we maybe saw last time around, still had some chinks in their armour that we could kind of expose. And I think we could see Lucas Moura and Son Heung-min exposing those from a Spurs perspective. So I think Lucas Moura could be a really differential and jammy way into the Spurs starting lineup if you cannot afford to go Son, because a lot of FPL managers will be looking to own the South Korean, but budgeting for 10 million is going to be tough when you're trying to budget for Salah and Bruno and Trent and maybe Dean and Luke Shaw, or a Manchester United or a Manchester City player also. So for me, Lucas Moura is up there. So 3 potential options this week for Jammy Picks. We've got Leon Bailey from Aston Villa, who only got 30 minutes but really did impress in game week 1 when I saw him come on. He was the one that looked most likely to spur that Aston Villa attack. Kevin De Bruyne, who just got the 11 minutes and is back much earlier than expected from injury. Will he get a start against Norwich? Do they need him to start against Norwich? That remains to be seen, but he is back and therefore will likely get minutes. If he plays like he did in those 11 minutes against Spurs, there is likely to be attacking returns from him. And finally, Lucas Moura, who was tricky, who was difficult to play against. And as he continues to play alongside Son in a slightly different role because Kane isn't there, we should start to see a bit more in the way of attacking returns from him. We know what he is capable of, as we saw in the Champions League a few seasons ago when he gets going. The confidence is definitely there from a Spurs perspective, and that is why Lucas Moura is my jammy pick for game week 2. Lots of the chatter in the community at the moment about investing in Son. I don't think Lucas Moura is a player that you're going to want to invest in across the entirety of the season, because there is likely to be some changes in that Spurs formation, especially if the main man comes back and plays for Spurs again this season in Harry Kane. But for now, for game week 2 against Wolves, I think Lucas Moura could be a real nice differential. Let me know who you think is your jammy pick for game week 2. Do you agree with me? Is it Lucas Moura? Would you have preferred me to pick one of those other 2 in Kevin De Bruyne or Leon Bailey from Aston Villa? Or actually, should I have just allowed myself to pick the same player for a couple of weeks running and had Mbumo on that list too? Because I was really impressed with him. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button. And thank you ever so much to the 20,000 of you that are currently subscribed on our channel. Bye guys.